double overlay with music. I love my computer. Anybody wants to donate to my GoFundMe, hey, I'm taking all donations. With that being said, what a time to be alive, especially if you're Frankie the Yankee watching this Red Sox and Yankees game. It's just amazing. Again, my Astros won today. Maldonado got the grand slam, so I'm feeling pretty good. I really could use Frankie. I know you're on the show, but honestly, I just got to be honest. I could use a Red Sox win just to kind of close the gap a little bit. But, it's a long way from overs. Jonathan Mathis on the show. What's up, my brother?
Hey, what's up, man? We got another game of the Freeway Series tonight, the finale. So, I'm pumped up for that. They got me here on the West Coast, so I'm forced to watch that Milwaukee Brewers and San Francisco Giants game. So I'm missing all the fun. Fortunately for you guys get a chance to see the Yankees versus the Red Sox, which should be a lot of fun, more exciting than what we have out here on the West Coast.
Well, Jonathan, the sucky thing for Frankie's Yankees, Pride's, Red Sox, and my Astros is, part of being on the East Coast, because since I'm in Georgia right now, is every time we play on the West Coast, I got to stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning until the damn game's over with. And I hate West Coast games, but...
Well, a lot of West Coast people hate the East Coast starts because they start at 4 o'clock, and a lot of people are stuck in rush hour traffic. They're in gridlock traffic. They can't get home, in time to see the game. So it's vice versa. The same applies here for the people here on the West Coast.
Hey, that's why the best people are in Texas. We're right in the damn middle. So you get the West Coast, you get the East Coast. We get the best of both worlds no matter when we play you guys. It really, I think, is kind of the best of both worlds there. Frankie the Yankee. What's up, my brother?
What's going on, guys? It's been a terrible week, but it's an amazing day today, and I'm not going to get too excited because it just started. My game just started, and anything can happen in baseball, so I'm not going to get too excited just yet. Third inning just came up. But, John, I got you, brother. You are on Unscripted with one of the best people that can get you the connections of the Boston Red Sox-Yankees game. No problem about it, brother. I got you. Ask Jay. Jay always want to watch the Astros game when he can't, and Frankie the Yankee always got him. Now he watches every Astros game.
Nice.
Yeah, the only thing that ever screws me over is when the servers go down and then the streaming goes down. But other than that, man, hey, I'm not complaining because up until then, I wasn't getting anything. So now at least I'm getting something. So, yeah, life's pretty good. Real quick, guys, but, I was hoping Pride would be here right now. That way we could kind of touch on this series. That was going to be my leadoff. But since he's not here right now, I'm going to kind of put that back a little bit. And let's just jump right into this whole Juan Soto thing. $440 million, 15 years, richest contract in history of baseball. I guess he feels like, he could get, I think it was around 26 million a year. I guess he's probably looking around 30 to 35 million a year. And I guess his agent feels like somebody's going to give it to him. Hi, Mickey Delaney. Good to have you on. Screw your Mariners. I hate them because they always give us fits. But Mariners are playing hellified baseball, so I know you're happy. But again, I'm just a mere mortal human being on the lower middle income side of life, and when I see $440 million freaking damn dollars, and I see a man turn it down, I literally am beside myself because that's so much damn money I can't even comprehend. But again, I guess Juan Soto feels like he's going to become a free agent in 2024. I guess he figures the Nationals now have agreed to basically trade him because the fact that they know they can't get a long-term deal, which, by the way, he did have a 13-year, $350 million contract prior to this one that he turned down. So this is the second contract with the Nationals that he's turned down. So I guess the Nationals at this point are like, well, okay, we're not going to sign this guy, so we're going to have to trade him. But then, number one, who's going to take him in? And number two, if they don't trade him because of free agent 24, at some point, my question to both of you guys is, Juan Soto, does he get more than the 15 million, the 15-year deal? Does he get more than that? Jonathan, what do you think?
I mean, he could. I don't know who would offer him that. I mean, it's hard to see what his future is going to look like. But I mean, this guy, no question, is a generational talent. I mean, he can get his payday somewhere else. I think a big part of the reason why he wants out suddenly is because he knows he can go somewhere else and contend. I think this guy, got a taste for what it's like to win at a very young age. And he knows that he's still young and that he can get a lot of money somewhere else. His agent is Scott Boras. We all know how Scott Boras does business, how he runs his business. He encourages all his clients to wait until their contracts expire, not, go for the extension, but look for the best deal out there on the open market. So at the end of it all, Soto is definitely going to test free agent waters, and rightfully so. He has earned that right to do so. But whoever gets this guy, they're going to be very, very fortunate to have a player like Soto, because Soto is an amazing player. I mean, this guy, he has plate discipline. He has an uncanny eye at the plate. I believe he leads the league with the most walks, 79, if I'm correct. So this guy is a great player, has a great on-base percentage, no question about it. He hasn't played up to his standards, but recently he has, caught some fire. He has, turned it around offensively, and he leads the Nationals with 19 home runs. So someone's going to get this guy, and whoever gets this guy, it's going to be a contending team, and that might point their team in the right direction, because that's how much of an impact he would have on the team. But I don't know. To answer your question, Jay, I don't know if he's going to get that mega-sized contract that he's looking for. He's obviously gambling on himself, right?
Big time gambling.
Right, by not taking this $440 million, because what if he never sees that money again? But
exactly.
I guess
that's what I'm thinking.
Right, but he's highly confident in himself that he feels as if he's going to see that money somewhere else again. And, I think at the end of the day, he's seeking for a deal of more than $500 million. I think that's what he's looking for, somewhere in the $500 million range. But who's going to be willing to give it to him? But we'll see. There's a lot of teams out there that's going to be in play for him. He's definitely going to be shopped around. He's going to be on the market. The Nationals GM, Mike Wizzle, made it clear last month that he wasn't planning on trading his cornerstone piece. But now he might have no choice but to make the move. It might be time to move on from Juan Soto. Now it might be time to push all your chips to the table and see what you can get for him. See how many assets you can get. Because remember, too, the Nationals, they don't have the best farm system. Their farm system is very depleted. So this will replenish their farm system by trading Juan Soto and getting some future assets. But whoever acquires Juan Soto, they're going to have to be ready to give up a lot of future assets, and they're going to have to be ready to mortgage their future.
Exactly. And Senator Rolio Sanchez, hey, man, glad to see you're healthy, upright, and all is well. I know you had that unfortunate accident, but, man, it's good to see that you're in good spirits and you're healthy, brother. That's always most important. So, Frankie, here's my thing, right? The guy's been...
Say my name right. Say my name. You say my name right.
Hey, Frankie the Yankee.
There you go.
Frankie the Yankee. Listen, Juan Soto's... Honestly, he's having a really shitty year, to be honest with you. If you want more than $440 million and you want to be paid more than Mike freaking Trout, then I expect to see better than 247 on a batting average. I'm sorry. I expect better. At 247, you're going to turn down a contract. Really? Okay. And again, Frankie, maybe he's banking it. Maybe he's banking off his career batting average of 292. So maybe he's trying to ride the career average right now. But at the present day at 247, I don't think I'm making him higher paid than Mike Trout. Frankie, what's your opinion?
I don't think he should be getting paid as high as Mike Trout. I mean, if you really look at it, both him and Mike Trout can be in the same situation. You got Mike Trout that's in the same situation with the Angels, right? You got a good player with a terrible team. Soto, a great player with a terrible team. But I do not think, to be honest with you, I don't think Juan Soto's ever going to see a $400 million contract again, let alone a $440 million contract. John, I know what you're saying where he can try and reach to a $500 million contract with a team or something like that. There's nobody in baseball that's going to get $500 million to play baseball. No one in MLB history is going to reach to that unless you're like phenomenal on the plate or phenomenal batting and you're like never getting out. You're always hitting home runs or you're always on the base nonstop. Like, unless you're a perfect player like that, no one's going to get a $500 million. But for Juan Soto, I'm actually glad that he turned it down, to be honest with you, because he's showing that you shouldn't sell yourself to a, excuse my language, but this is Frankie the Yankee, but you shouldn't sell yourself to a shitty franchise like the Washington Nationals. You don't want to spend the next 15 years with the Washington Nationals knowing that nothing's going to happen with that team in the near future. Let's be realistic. They won a championship in 2019, and we've seen many championship teams that win a championship and then fall off the horizon because those players that won the championship are going to get money elsewhere. And that's what Juan Soto is trying to do, but without winning a championship. He wants to go to a team to where he knows that he's in a championship contender level. He wants to go to a team where he knows he has a chance to at least make the playoffs. And at this moment, he's just telling himself, it's not about the money, it's about the sport. I know I'm better than what I can get. You know, he could definitely get a 400 and maybe, less than 440 mil from some other team. But like John said, it depends on which team is going to pick him up. In my theory, I honestly, realistically, and don't put me down for it, but I see Juan Soto going to a team where nobody is ever thinking of. Everybody's thinking like, oh, Juan Soto turned this down, so he's going to get traded. Where's he going? Is he going to go to the Yankees? Is he going to go to the Dodgers? Could he go to the Astros? Maybe the Red Sox? No. I say Juan Soto will probably end up maybe in San Diego, go to the Padres, maybe go to the White Sox, maybe go to one of those low contender teams that have players that are able to be a championship contender. Maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but 3 years from now. It takes a slow progress, and I think that's what Juan Soto is looking at. Like, okay, I'm not going to stay for 15 years when I know that this organization isn't ready to win a championship or even on the verge of actually trying to make a playoff run. He's like, I'm going to go to a team that's actually has some talent and actually can do something in the near future. So I see what Juan Soto's trying to do. He's also trying to put out to other players in the league, like, it's not always about money. It's always about yourself. Bank on yourself and not on your account.
And that's the thing. So Jonathan, I guess my question based off of what Frankie's saying is, and again, I'm not putting Frankie down. Hey, Padres, looks like a good spot. But the only thing is to that is, if you go to a place the Padres, they got Machado and a few of the guys that are high on their payroll. And then, is he going to take less money to go to San Diego? Less than that 440.
Well, I'm glad Frankie mentioned the Padres, because I was reading earlier that the Padres can be one of those mystery teams, and it makes a lot of sense because the Padres got a farm system, right? They have a top flight farm system, one of the best farm systems in baseball. So they can mortgage their future. They can give up a lot of assets to acquire a guy like Juan Soto. And to answer your question, Jay, would Juan Soto take less money? Well, by what we just saw here, it shows me that he doesn't care about money, that his priority is not $440 million. His priority is being on a team where there are consistent winners, where there's a good product on the field, where he knows he has a chance to once again contend for a World Series title. And with the Padres, he will have that shot, being with Manny Machado, being with Jake Cronensworth, being with a young group of guys who's around his age and who are just as hungry as him to win another one. Not only that, he brings that championship experience to that team because he's won before. He knows what it takes to get there. So he can be that leader in the clubhouse and rally those troops on that team, like Fernando Tatis Jr. or Manny Machado. Those guys are hungry for a championship. So if he goes there, it would be it's a great landing spot for Juan Soto. a place like San Diego where he blends in really well with those guys over there, and they have the prospects to make it happen. Do I think he'll take less money if he knows the situation is good? I think he would. I think you can give him something in a 400 million range, or maybe the high 300 million range. I think he'll settle for that. I don't think he's as money hungry as he seems to be, because if he was, he would have easily took this 440 million on the table. And he would have said, "You know what? Hey, I could stay here the next 15 years in Washington. I could just chill. I don't have to, give it my all. I could just, be comfortable living a good lifestyle with this money that I'm making." But he didn't take it. He rejected the offer because he is showing everyone that he cares more about winning than the bag of money that was offered to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I guess we're going to have to wait and see, what transpires in the trade world or even free agency. Like I said, I think he probably gets traded before he becomes a free agent. But again, I think, to go to a team like the Padres, he's going to have to take less money. And so I guess we're going to find out truly what Juan Soto is really about. Is he about winning, or is he about the money? And we'll go from there. But again, I think that's why he's not really too excited about the Nationals, because I don't think he's too bought into the Nationals. Like Frankie was saying, they're kind of dog water right now. And I think he's just kind of tired. I mean, they're 3 years away from the World Series, and they haven't done squat since then. So I think Juan is kind of, like you said, John, I think he's kind of fed up. He's looking for somebody that he can contend with. So it's going to be interesting, brothers and sisters. Let's talk real quick about this Yankees and Red Sox. Right now it looks like it's still 4-1, I believe it is. Frankie, man, you guys lost yesterday. Are we taking this series from Boston? Are you going to get the Giants game in tomorrow, or do you think it's going to be the uphill battle all 3 games? Frankie the Yankee died on me.
No, I'm here. I'm sorry. I'm here. Yeah, we lost yesterday in a chance where we could have won. We had bases loaded both in the bottom of the 9th and the bottom of the 10th. I just feel like our hitting wasn't connecting really well. I mean, obviously our strong top can actually hit the ball, but once they get to the bottom of the lineup, that's where we have a little bit of trouble. But I don't know. I think I think we could take this series. I mean, we feel comfortable today taking the lead, hitting the ball really well, and we know what we have to do. It just right now, it just comes out to our pitching. Our pitching, yeah, puppy. Okay. Our pitching hasn't been really, as legit as it has in the beginning of the year. And I just think it's because, and like I said this to you in private chat, Jay, I feel like the Yankees are just right now focusing on the All-Star break. They're ready for that rest that they need. And they're just ready for the second half of the season, because realistically, us three, we're all former champions here as baseball fans for our teams. And we know that the real time of the season is after All-Star break. So I think we could finish out this series 2-1 against the Red Sox and go into the All-Star break feeling okay. I'm not gonna say great, because anything can happen. Like I said, when we come back from the All-Star break, because our first game against after the All-Star break is against the Astros in a doubleheader. So I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, I think we take this series. We're looking good right now. 4 runs, 4 hits, no errors, compared to the Red Sox, 1 score, 2 hits, no errors. So we'll keep it up and we'll keep doing better.
Jonathan, in the first game it was Severino, and I forget who Boston had on the mound, but it was definitely less than Severino. So, and then of course tonight, you had the battle of Talon versus and I can't remember the other guy's name, but basically their ERAs are pretty much dead even, right at about 4 or a little bit over 4, but pretty much dead even as pitchers.
Hey, first of all, Jay, his name is Jameson Taillon, not Taillon.
There you go, Taillon, whatever. Okay. Nobody cares about Taillon. He's got 4.3 ERA. Nobody gives a damn about Taillon. So let's not get off. Look, just like you don't care about Urquidy, nobody cares about Urquidy. He's got 4.35. So, Frankie, nobody cares about Taillon. Okay, it is what it is. Okay. It's kind of like they said in Invincible when Vince Papale was in the locker room and the guy said, and Vince says to the locker room manager, excuse me, you spelled my name wrong. And the guy says back to Vince Papale, let me ask you, is it really going to matter?
It does matter, because you're saying You're saying he has a bad ERA, but yet he's one of the top pitchers in baseball with a record of 9-2. So he could have a bad ERA, Jay, but he's got a 9-2. Does any pitcher on the Astros have a 9-2 record or better? All right, thank you for coming on my
well, I think if you look at our record, you'll see that answer. I'm not going down that rabbit hole, Frankie. Hold on, I got a question for Jonathan. The question is, then you got Sale, who's coming off injury, going up against Cole in the last game. So I really kind of had, the Yankees winning the first and third based on pitching and things like that. And then I kind of thought the game in the middle could go either way, maybe in Boston's favor at that point. But as you saw, Severino got hurt in the beginning. Boston took that one, and right now we're top of the fourth, 4-1. If it continues down this trend, New York may grab the second one, and then we're going to come into the third one, Cole versus Sale. How do you see Cole versus Sale playing out on that third game of the series before you go into the All-Star break?
Oh, that's going to be a pivotal matchup between those two. You hear those names quite often being thrown around Major League Baseball. Chris Sale, we all know how great of a pitcher he is when he's healthy and pitching 100%. Garrett Cole kind of was shaky and erratic at times last season, but he has been better this season. I like that matchup. I can't wait to see who comes out on top. I'm going to give the slight advantage to Garrett Cole. Chris Sale is kind of getting back into the rhythm. He's kind of getting a feel for things again. I'm going to go with Garrett Cole. I like what Garrett Cole's been able to do this year. I think he's looked solid. And that's been a big part of why the Yankees are having the success that they're having, right? Is because of their pitching this year. Their pitching has surprised a lot of people with Nestor Cortez, with Jordan Montgomery, and then you have Garrett Cole. So the pitching has been solid. Everyone pushed the panic button, it seemed, after that tough series they had against the Cincinnati Reds. And I understand why. It's against the Cincinnati Reds. It's not like it's one of the best teams in baseball, But to answer your question, Jay, I think this is going to be a great pitching matchup, but I got to give the slight edge to Garrett Cole.
Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, again, Garrett Cole's a hell of a pitcher, man. So you got a hell of a pitcher. You still got good hitting. So, yeah, it's going to be very tough for Boston, even with Sale there. Frankie, I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm not picking on your team whatsoever, so I don't want you to think that I'm picking on the Yankees, because I'm not. But this is actually a very legitimate question. You got Baltimore, because I want to kind of talk about Anthony Price brings up, talk about Baltimore right after the All-Star break. And we talked about how sometimes you go into the All-Star break hot, and then you come out either cold, medium, or you'll come out hot again. So you come off the Cincinnati Reds where they took you 2-1, and they played, and you guys, that was a very, very extremely competitive series, as we all know. Then you're going to come into a Baltimore who's coming off that hot winning streak that they're on. Now, again, to keep it in perspective, Baltimore did play a lot of sub-500 teams, so I don't want to get too overly high on Baltimore and their streak. But at the same time, how do you see the Yankees playing Baltimore? Do they take them lightly and possibly get stooped? Or, do you see them sweeping that series and then going into the double hitter?
Well, I can't say for sure, because honestly, I'm going to be realistic with you, Jay. And you know it as well. We sometimes have trouble with Baltimore. We always don't win them all. We actually lost our the first series against them. We lost that, but then we bounced back, and we started sweeping them on the next series. But to be realistic with you, I can't say that we're going to sweep them, because it's still going to be the second half of the season. And like I said before, a lot of things have changed in the second half of the season. But for Baltimore to try and get one on us, it's going to be harder for Baltimore to win against us than we are sweeping them. So I'm comfortable with how everything is going right now. And like you said, Baltimore has been beating sub 500 teams, and they were on a good streak. And let's be realistic, and I've been telling you this as well, Tampa Bay and Toronto both are dealing with major injuries in their roster, pitching wise and with the best player wise as well. So because if they weren't injured right now, we would be looking at a Baltimore Orioles and Boston Red Sox in the bottom of the division. And it will be more of a tight race between Yankees, Tampa, and Toronto. But because of those injuries, the Yankees are just lucky enough to be on this amazing ride and continue to grind it out. And with the Baltimore Orioles had a great success in that run. Apparently, that run came to an end yesterday. But I don't think the Baltimore Orioles are going to do anything against the Yankees during that series. I do know that the Yankees are going to focus on that and know that division wins are important, especially in the second half of the year.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I say, one, I think it's a testament when you come out the end of that All-Star break and you play Baltimore, because it is a storyline still there. They kind of come to an end. It's still a storyline there. And I think if the Yankees come out and beat, their sweep or beat, the Orioles, then it kind of puts that whole, what about, the Orioles contending for a wild card? I think that kind of puts the kibosh on that a little bit and brings it back to reality for what it is. But number two, I think it really is a good tune-up for you guys to come out of the All-Star, play a team like Baltimore, get, establish your rhythm back, and then go into the double hitter against us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's what it is, Jay. Is like I said, like we know what we have to do against Baltimore. That's a division rival team. I mean, we have a comfortable 20 game lead against them. So if we lose them, I don't think the Yankees are going to be caring about that. What we're caring about is more important games, kind of like the Astros. You guys are about what 2.5, 3 games behind us for the best record in the league. So the Yankees' mindset is probably going to be like, all right, well, we lost this game against Baltimore, but let's not care because the most important game is against the Astros, who are right there behind us, and these are must wins against the Astros. So that's what it more feels like to me.
And Jonathan, looking at the Dodgers, we're talking about the Astros and the Yankees and where we are in terms of, who's number one overall in MLB. But you got the Dodgers, right there in the mix too. So how do you see the Dodgers coming out of the All-Star break, and where do you see them at in the mix? Do you see them 1, 2, or 3, or do you think they can reclaim the number one spot? Or not? I shouldn't say reclaim, but do you think they can get the number one spot overall in the MLB? Because they're right there too in terms of good baseball teams.
If their offense starts to fire on all cylinders, yes, they can be number one in baseball. Look, they have the lineup to do it. They have quality hitters from top to bottom. Before the season started, they were, considered this historical offense, right? Like they were that historically good. The way people were talking about them. And when you look at their lineup, you have Mookie Betts at the top. You have Mookie Betts leading things off. Then you have Trey Turner. You have Freddie Freeman. You have Will Smith. You have Gavin Lux, who's been sensational so far this season. You got these guys that can hit. The problem with the Dodgers is that, and this has been a common issue for the Dodgers. They leave too many runners on base. If they're able to get the runs and if they're able to manufacture some runs and score with runners in scoring position, this team could be very dangerous. We all know that the pitching has been surprisingly good thanks to what Tony Gosselin has been able to do. This guy's been phenomenal. Leads baseball with the best ERA. A lot of people think he should start the All-Star game. Then you have Tyler Anderson, who the other night has 6 scoreless innings. So the pitching has been pretty solid, considering that you don't have Walker Buehler or you don't even have Dustin May. Kershaw came back, and you saw what he did last night. He was simply spectacular on the mound last night. He still, it looks like a perennial ace when he takes the mound. So the Dodgers have the main ingredients to win a World Series and to reclaim the number one spot. And I think if there's one team that can do it, and this is not me being biased here, this is me looking at the roster and what the team has and all the weapons that they have on that team. And I'm going to say it like this. I think the Dodgers can reclaim that number one spot, but they have to be more consistent, particularly on offense. The pitchers need more run support. The bullpen has to be able to preserve leads, protect leads. Sometimes when Craig Kimbrell come out there for the ninth, it makes me nervous as hell because you don't know which Craig Kimbrell you're gonna get.
No, I understand. I feel the same way with the Aroldis Chapman.
Right. So I mean, those guys are are looking like half bins now. They're not the same dynamic closers that they once were in their careers. So that makes you a little nervous. But Jay, I think the Dodgers can because they have the team to do so. But you know, you can have all the talent in the world, Jay, and you could still lose. The Dodgers have been a great testament.
Yeah, we saw that last year. I mean, look what Atlanta did. They put a few key pieces together on that offense, and they came out of it. They came alive. So
didn't the Dodgers have the best record in baseball last year?
The second best record.
See, and that's what scares me, and that's why I sit here and I'm like, you know, the Yankees can have the best record, but anything can happen in the playoffs. So, like, that's why I don't, you know.
Hey, look, all that really means, honestly, is and correct me if I'm wrong, Jonathan, but if the Yankees, okay, let's say, hypothetically, if the Yankees take number one and it goes by record, I guess is what I'm saying. In terms of who gets home field advantage in the World Series, it's all by record, correct?
Yes. Records and wins versus that team. So like,
I guess when you're trying to fight for the number one spot, you're just trying to get that home field advantage, and that's really where it comes into play. Other than that, the regular season is over and everything starts new.
Right. And last year, if you remember, the Dodgers, they didn't win the division. The Giants did. They lost the division by one game. So that's the Giants finished with the better record. They finished with 107 wins. The Dodgers finished with 106.
Yeah, I remember that. It was a dog fight for your division.
Yeah, it came down to the final day, really.
All right, folks, we're gonna move this show along a little bit. Next up for bid is Cam Brady lead the Bucs to a Super Bowl this year. We all know he got really pretty damn close last year going up against the Rams. I think it came right down to the very end. I think it was a field goal, whatever. So very, very close. Brady got really damn close to actually being in the Super Bowl. You know, when you look at the negative to it, no Gronk, no Jason Pierre-Paul, no Ndamukong Suh, things like that. So he's lost some stuff. But again, you know, if he can stay healthy at 45 and stay upright, he's still Tom freaking Brady, and you got to give him credit where credit is due. But again, they have a damn hard schedule. They got to play the Rams. They got to play the Bengals. They got to play the Niners, the Cardinals, the Packers, the Chiefs. I mean, they got a lot of top competition to deal with to get back to that spot. The offense is still, like I said, good. They got Goodwin. They still got Godwin, Evans. As long as Godwin can stay healthy, Evans, Fournette. But again, they're going to be missing Gronk, which, you know, that's always been his safety blanket, and a little bit off that defense. What do we expect from Tom this year? It says, I guess he really kind of came back for unsettled business. Jonathan Mathis, does he get the business settled, or does he just deal with another year of losing?
Well, you know, hey, you know what? I can't bet against Tom Brady. I mean, like, hey, look, it's a different division now. You don't have the Falcons don't have Matt Ryan anymore. The Saints have Jameson Winston at quarterback, and who does the Falcons have at their quarterback now? Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, it's Mariota.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, hey, it's kind of wide open for Tom Brady in a sense, and Tom Brady didn't lose all his weapons. He still has Chris Godwin. He still has
Mike Evans.
He still has Leonard Fournette. You know, and these guys can be his security blanket. And the last time I checked, Tom Brady was able to win Super Bowls without Gronkowski. With or without Gronkowski. So it really didn't matter. And not throughout the course of his career with the Buccaneers did he have the best receiving corps. You know, I think this is the most talent he's had since he, you know, joined the Tampa Bay Bucks as their starting quarterback. But I think this year, if he does have a shot, this will be his last shot. And I think the door is still open for him because it's not the NFC that has the most talent, or, you know, the NFC isn't as stacked as the AFC. The AFC is something you got to worry about. The NFC, it's more of a mystery. You know, it's more wide open. So I think Tom Brady still has a chance with that championship window being slightly open.
Frankie, Here's my question, man. Like I said,
You
when
guys
you
are
lose
so
Pierre,
lucky.
hey, look, hey, Frankie the Yankee. When you lose Pierre Paul, you lose Ndamukong Suh, you lose your top big guy in Gronk. And let's be honest, when they won the Super Bowl, they had Gronkowski and they had Antonio Brown, which both of those guys played tremendous roles in winning that Super Bowl. Now he has neither one of those two. And the defense, like I said, has really kind of taken a hit. But, again, like Jonathan said, it's hard to bet against, Tom Brady. How do you feel about it?
Well, Jay, what's my football team?
Oh, you're a Patriots guy.
Exactly. So I know the best of Tom Brady. I know what he brings to the NFL, and I know what he's about on the field. Tom Brady had a terrible defense with the Patriots at a time. Tom Brady had a time where he had no top receiving cores and still ended up winning Super Bowls. Like Jonathan said, Tom Brady won a Super Bowl without Rob Gronkowski. If I'm not mistaken, it was Super Bowl 51, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he was out during the Atlanta comeback. So, I mean, Tom Brady can definitely win it without Gronk. He's definitely won it without Antonio Brown 6 times before having him. So, it really doesn't matter if he has Antonio Brown or not. And it also doesn't matter if he has Rob. He has Mike Evans, and I think Mike Evans is going to be, the same as Mike Evans has been. Defensively, it's really not Tom Brady's worry. Tom Brady should not worry about defense. I mean, that's what the coaches are for. The coaches should worry about defenses, and like I said, he's lost players on the defense before. Vince Wilfork, Gerard Mayo, and all those type of people. So Tom Brady's been through the times of not having a good defense, but knowing if you don't have a good defense, then that means me and my offense is going to have to step up bigger and more, and that's what Tom Brady's going to do.
Right.
Yeah, I only mention the defense because I feel like if the defense gives up points, then it's going to limit what Fournette does. But it's going to put Tom Brady in a constant pass mode, which could then put the pressure on Brady. That's the only thing that worries me.
And if you guys are forgetting, Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a new head coach in Todd Bowles.
That's true, they do.
And he's a defensive mind coach, so he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, Leftwich is still the offensive coordinator, correct?
Yes.
I think so,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and again, let me ask you guys a question. Given what the Saints have done and the improvements that they've made, if Jameis Winston could come out and pick up where he left off prior to getting hurt last year, and if he can stay healthy for the season, and if obviously Michael Thomas comes back, picks up, and can carry the ball again and do well and not get hurt. And then you got Olave, how do you say that guy's name? Olave. And then you got Landry. So they got quite a bit of receiving upgrades there, along with Tyrann Mathieu on the defensive side. Now, he will be without Kamara for 4 to 6, depending, I guess, whether that suspension is.
It's 6 games, Jay.
How do you see New Orleans, playing against New England? Do they, not New England, against the Bucs? Do they put some wrenches in there?
I don't know. That kind of remains to be seen now that you don't have Sean Payton as your play caller.
That's true. That's a big loss.
Right. He was a great play caller for them. So things are going to be different offensively for this team. I'm not saying they're not capable because they definitely have the weapons and they definitely have a pretty good secondary. A lot of people overlook how good their secondary could be. So they have a pretty solid defense. They have a good quarterback in Jameson Winston. If he can stay healthy and eliminate the number of turnovers, he can't throw a lot of interceptions, especially not against the Buccaneers, because Tom Brady takes advantage of those miscues and he turns those into points. He capitalizes on opposing teams' mistakes. So you can't make those mistakes against him. But they have a good offense. Alvin Kamara will be back in the offense when he can, when he's done serving that suspension. And then we don't know how Michael Thomas is going to look. I'm assuming he's going to try to get back to looking like that all-pro receiver. And then again, you still got other weapons around you. So Jameson Winston is in good shape with the pieces that he has. He has all the weapons at his disposal. But I don't know. I still give the Bucs a slight edge because I just don't know how the new play calling and this new system now is going to look for the Saints. Because again, Sean Payton's a huge loss, believe it or not. It may not seem that way because he was the coach, but he was also a damn good play caller.
Yeah, and again, I think it's going to be interesting to see, again, because, Tom came back for that unfinished business, and so it's going to be interesting to see if he can close the gap and ride that wave out one more time, toss that trophy from one route to the other as he's slobbering drunk into retirement. What better way to go? Again, hey, Tom, I know my Cowboys aren't going to make it. I'm the realistic person. We're not making the Super Bowl. So, again, it is what it is. But, hey, if my Cowboys can't make it, then I do like to see, history. And Tom Brady is a hell of a quarterback. And I wouldn't mind seeing the guy ride out, one more time, tossing that trophy from one route to the other. It was just beautiful, beautiful stuff to watch.
Well, Jay, at least you're not delusional like half of the Cowboy fans that say, "Oh, this is our year. This is our year. We're gonna win it."
Jay's been saying that.
I had to read. After the podcast, I had to re-ground myself. Sometimes you gotta look at your team. You gotta look at your team for what your team is. We all want our team to win, but in your heart, in your heart of hearts, if your team has it, if it doesn't have it, it doesn't take away from you being a fan of that team. It just means you're realistic about your team's chances. It just is what it is.
Yep, it is what it is.
Hey, folks, Lamar Jackson, he's really top 10. And I put this in here for a specific reason. And it really had to do with what I thought more about what Gonzo was saying. And I really kind of remember what Bernard Pollard brought up. If you remember that, I don't know if it was on Twitter or whatever, but he had an audio thing where he was talking about, Lamar Jackson, a lot of top wideouts don't want to play with him because they fear that he cannot make the throws to them. And I think a lot of top wideouts are fearing that it wouldn't be good for their career if they go and play with Lamar. So, again, I kind of think maybe I put a Kirk Cousins there because Kirk Cousins is the kind of guy that can he's proven in Minnesota, he can get the ball to all the top guys. He can get the ball to Dalvin Cook. He can run your offense, and he can run it well. And I think Lamar, the downside to Lamar is almost kind of like he's a one-trick pony, is the fact that he's very extremely athletic. He's good with his feet, but he's a feet-first, throw-later kind of quarterback. And again, a lot of top wideouts, they don't want to play with him because they feel like it's going to jeopardize their stats, jeopardize their careers in terms of what they're about. So, I don't know. I think I'm putting Lamar Jackson at number 11 based off of that scenario, and I'm putting Kirk Cousins right at number 10. Jonathan, how do you feel about Lamar?
I don't think he's a top 10 quarterback just yet. Now he has a chance to become a top 10 quarterback, but that comes with a great deal of improvement. You have a lot of improvement. You need a lot of growth still. You still have to mature as a quarterback. But to me, his numbers just don't stack up. And like you said, I think a lot of people, a lot of defenses particularly, kind of caught on to what he does. And they know how to game plan for him. They know how to scheme for him. They basically know what to expect from him because he's so predictable and the offense is so bland. But his numbers to me just doesn't stack up. His numbers declined.
Considerably declined.
Right. They have. And the whole thing is to get better each year, right? To do what Josh Allen is doing. Josh Allen has improved each year. This guy has taken a step back, which is kind of hard to believe with all the talent that he has, but he has regressed in his game. He has deteriorated, which is unbelievable because in 2019, this guy was nearly unstoppable. He was just that good, and he easily nabbed the league MVP. Something dramatic is happening.
Frankie just happened because Aaron Judge got a home run.
Number 32.
Yeah, but in his 2019 season, he threw for 1,000 27 yards, 36 touchdowns, and just 6 interceptions.
Yeah.
That's gotten worse.
Yeah, it has. Consider
right.
Hey, God, because that's what I was looking at. When you look at the 21-22 season, he threw for under 3,000 yards. So it was 28-82.
Right.
6 touchdowns, 13 picks in 12 games. I mean, you're only 3 picks shy of breaking even.
Right. And with him on the team, the Baltimore Ravens are teetering towards mediocrity with him on the team.
Really
so, I mean, no, he's not I'm sorry. I can't put him in my top 10.
And I get that. So Frankie, like I said, last year he had a 50.7 QBR for his career. He's got 37 fumbles for his career, 58 games. He's got 852 completions, just under 10,000 yards. That's 7.5 average, and 84 touchdowns, 31 picks, and 106 sacks. Now, in that 4-year career, in the stats that I just gave you, and especially the stats of last year, do we still put him at top 10?
No. I don't put him at top 10. I don't think he's a top 10 quarterback. I think Lamar Jackson, like you say, he's a mobilized quarterback. He doesn't throw the ball very often, and that's what you need to do in NFL. You also need to trust your receivers and trust in yourself and passing the ball more often, not just doing a I and team type of thing. And I don't think he's got it. And you know what? I had so much hype for Lamar Jackson that I was pissed off when Bill Belichick skipped on him and he didn't get him. And now I see why Bill Belichick didn't get him, and I'm glad that he didn't get him because I don't see Lamar Jackson as a top 10. I don't even see, honestly, to be honest, I don't see Lamar Jackson as a top 15. Now he still has more to do to prove to me that he could be a top 15.
No, I think Bill Belichick did the right thing by passing on him and waiting for the Mac Jones to fall in his lap because as you can see, it definitely is working out better in the long run for you guys. When it comes to Lamar Jackson, I just feel like again he's a one-trick pony, and I just feel like when you're that predictable, like Jonathan Mathis was saying, it just allows defenses to game plan more effectively for you. All right, folks.
It really does.
All I know, Jay, is I'm pissed that Pride is not here to show his face tonight. Luckily, and then
50.
Wasn't Pride the one yesterday said he had something for me?
Yeah, but maybe after this 5-1 bottom of the 5th game that's going on, that might have maybe after the Carpenter home run, he kind of changed his mind. So I don't know. I can't speak for Pride. He had to speak for himself, but actions always speak louder than words, I say. NFL division predictions. Now, we don't have time to go through all the divisions. So what I want to do is just kind of have each one of us give our interpretation of our own division. So, Jonathan, I'll start it off, and then Jonathan, you'll go with the Rams, obviously, and then Frankie, you're going to give yours on the Patriots. On the NFC East side, and again, I'm going to keep it very real. The one positive I like to say is a lot of people are talking about how bad the NFC East is, how, not competitive, how soft and things like that. And you're right, for a very long time it's been that way. But I really think with the addition of Dable in New York is going to solidify that team, and they're going to get better. Now, it's going to take a little time, okay? But that team, I think Dable gets that team on the right trajectory, and I think that they follow the Buffalo Bills type of path, especially since I think Daniel Jones, under Dable's developmental process, can be really a good quarterback. So I see New York making strides to get out of where they are, and I think they do get back on track, and they do become competitive at some point. The Eagles, you look at the Eagles, I mean, they got Jalen Hurts. He really is the biggest factor for how far that team can go. He did get them to the wild card last year. They brought in Brown to go outside of Smith. And then they got, their running back, and I think it's Sanders. And then it's Sanders, correct, for the Eagles? Am I right? Yeah, it's Sanders. So I think with Sanders at the running back, and now he has two really good offensive weapons to throw to, and they picked up Nick Chubb and a few others on defense. the Philadelphia Eagles could go, at least I think he gets them to the second round of the playoffs. I think they're good enough to get to that point, as long as Hurts comes out and continues to show the development in that process. When it comes to Washington, they brought in Wentz. Wentz is going to make that offense a little bit more competitive than what they had last year. They got McLaurin re-signed. Chase Young is coming back. They still have weapons there. So, I see Washington being competitive. The Cowboys, we will be competitive. I think I don't think we get the division. I think we maybe slide into the wild card and we go from that point because we added some guys through the draft, but they're more project guys. Guys who have potential, but we don't really quite know. And I don't think we're really going to know until they get through training camp to see what they have in the guys that they picked up. But there is some really good prospects that they got in the second and third round that I'm kind of curious to see how it translates. But again, I think Dallas takes a step back because they did lose Cooper, they did lose Gregory, and a few of the key pieces on the offensive line, and Collins to Cleveland and Williams to Miami. So, they're going to have to see how these new guys fit into that offensive line and see what they actually have to support Dak Prescott. And again, you still have the same coach, so
you also lost your center. You also lost your center to the Bengals, did you not?
No, that was Lyle Collins that we lost, which I believe
that's right. Yep, that's right.
We lost Lyle Collins, which is an offensive, which is a huge piece for them guys to actually lose. But in terms of the NFC East in general, I see the Eagles taking the win. I see the Cowboys getting the wild card. But overall, the bigger thing about this picture I want to point out is that watch out for the NFC East. I think in about 4 years from now, New York, I think the Redskins, and I think Dallas gets back on track. And I see that the NFC East will become a very competitive division within the next 5 years. I think they're getting the right guys in place to make that happen. So watch out for those guys. Next, we're going to go to Jonathan Mathis, and he's going to talk about that Rams division and what he sees happening. And again, you got the Cardinals, you got the Niners. Man, that's some good stuff over there. Jonathan, what are we talking about here?
Look, the Rams are favorites by a long shot to win the NFC West, as they should be. I mean, yes, they fairly had a quiet offseason. They didn't do much. They didn't make a lot of moves. They had some key losses. They lost players like tackle Andrew Whitworth, who was huge for them. Linebacker Von Miller, who was tremendous as well. And then you lose wide receiver Robert Woods after you traded him to Tennessee. But you did manage to sign some players, like you got Allen Robinson. You got linebacker Bobby Wagner, who I was huge on. I like this move. Bobby Wagner is not Von Miller, but he can fill that void. And he would be a nice addition playing alongside Aaron Donald. You still got Aaron Donald coming back, one of the best defensive players in the league, if not the best edge rusher in the league, in my opinion. So your defense is still fully intact. You got a great secondary with Jalen Ramsey back there. You even improved your secondary in this year's draft. I thought the Rams had a great draft, by the way. But, you still got the 49ers standing in your way. The 49ers do have a few key questions. They haven't been able to trade Jimmy G yet. I don't think they're too sold on their I believe he was the third pick overall. Trey Lance, he was a top pick for the 49ers. I don't think they're sold on him just yet. But I think it's going to be it's going to come down to the 49ers and the Rams in that division. And then, of course, you got the Cardinals. But the Cardinals are not really much of a worry. The Cardinals, it's a little surprising to see where the Cardinals stand. This is a team that have collapsed down the stretch each of the last two seasons. They dealt with Kyler Murray being unhappy. Then you have DeAndre Hopkins getting suspended. So it's been a lot going on for that team. And then the Seahawks, they're just in a major rebuild. I mean, let's just call it what it is. I mean, they're going to have some years of mediocrity. They lost their veteran quarterback. They don't have Russell Wilson anymore. So I still gotta go with the Rams. I think the Rams are built to run it back again. I think they have all the pieces in place to do so. Remember, they have a brilliant coach as well, and Sean McVay. He's done a tremendous job. Those guys have great chemistry. They know what it takes to win because they did it a year ago, and they finally have a good quarterback, as we saw a year ago with Matthew Stafford, who proved himself time and time again, week in and week out, that all he needed was a wall in front of him to show how great of a playmaker he can be and how great of an elite passer he can be. And we saw all of that last year on display.
Before Frankie wraps that up, I want to say nobody's gonna deny that the Rams are coming out of that thing as a division winner. We all know that's a guaranteed, unless they get impacted with injuries or something. I mean, that's how it's gonna happen. My question to you is, Hollywood Brown is coming over to the Cardinals. He has a great chemistry, a great rapport with Kyler Murray. And if you put him in there with Hopkins and then maybe have Green as your slot or your third option, whatever, what does Hollywood Brown then do for the Cardinals? Can he help Kyler Murray kind of get back on track and put up a little better fight for the wild card spot over the 49ers?
Yes, there's a possibility because of their strong connection. I can see them making a run for the wild card. Not the division, but the wild card. Those two guys seem to have great chemistry together. They like playing together. So, yes, the Cardinals can be very interesting. I don't think you count them out with Kyler Murray and Hollywood Brown. That's going to be those two guys are going to be fun to watch. That's going to be a great wide receiver quarterback combo for sure.
Oh, absolutely. But again, I don't think anybody's going to disagree with you that the Rams are coming out there as a divisional lead. Frankie, now we are moving into your division with them damn Patriots. Woo! You guys got a good division over there, Frankie. There's actually quite a few surprises. I think they come out of that division. What do you think, man? What's going on?
It's going to be a little bit tougher than what it normally looks. I mean, our division now looks more like a competition than what it normally used to be. We used to go in every year and everybody's saying, well, this is going to be the Patriots division for the past 20, 22 years out of the past 25 years. It's always been the Patriots division, but the Bills have been doing what the Bills have been doing recently the past 2 years. I think the Bills will keep running on this train of success for now. Because let's be real, I hate the Buffalo Bills, but I cannot hate Josh Allen. Josh Allen is like literally a superstar quarterback, and I just wish that he was on the Patriots just because of what he does. I mean, let's be realistic. The man is doing something unbelievable. He's got a great arm and he's got great legs to move around. So I do think that the Bills are going to win the division one more time this year. With that following up, I think my team is in stride. Everybody thinks that my team is going to come in third, maybe fourth. Because of how the Jets drafted this year, but I really don't think that's going to happen because let's be realistic. The Jets are the Jets. They can have literally top tier names and like they won't do anything with them. So I don't think that's going to happen, but Miami, they got a little hump in their bump now because they get in Tyreek Hill from the Kansas City Chiefs and the Patriots followed up with that while they got the Tyreek Hill, we ended up getting Devontae Parker. So that's a little bit more of a weapon strike for Mac Jones. But I think we're going to come in second this year in our division. And for the reason that, Jay, is because Mac Jones looks different this year. I follow Mac Jones on Twitter. I follow Mac Jones on Instagram. I'm a huge Mac Jones fan. You know that. I've watched the kid in Alabama when he went undefeated and he won the national championship. I've watched the kid during our 3-hour live draft show back in 2020, if I'm not mistaken. You guys seen my reaction when we drafted Mac Jones. I was just super excited that the man landed 15th overall. So I think Mac Jones is going to have an outstanding year. He's gonna show his arm more this year. I think so because he lost weight this offseason. He gained a little bit of muscle and he lost a little bit of that fat. So I can't wait to see what Mac Jones is going to bring to the field and the connection between what him and Devontae Parker is going to bring. I think it's going to be outstanding. But I don't ever sleep on my division nowadays because we don't have Tom Brady no more. And ever since we lost Tom Brady, I had to open my eyes as a real football fan now and actually look at the bigger picture and go ahead and say, man, this is going to be the Bills division this year. I know my team's going to come in second because just like you guys say, don't ever count out Tom Brady. Don't ever count out Bill Belichick. Don't ever count out Bill Belichick.
I agree with you. I definitely agree with you that Buffalo Bills are coming out of that damn division as the winner. And I don't even think it's close in your division at that level. I will say this: start at the bottom. Look at the Jets. For the first time, I see a lot more sense of the direction with that team now. And it starts with their coach. They brought in Salah. I think that was the right choice. But I really see the way that they're drafting and how they drafted, and the way that they drafted was really well done. And so again, it starts with the draft, it starts with the coach, starts with the development, and I think the Jets, for the first time, quite honestly, since Bill Parcells had the Jets, maybe even Rex Grossman, or wasn't it Rex? What's that dude's name?
Rex Ryan. Rex Ryan.
Thank you. They finally have a sense of direction within that team, and it's going to be kind of curious to see where they go from here in terms of development over the next few years.
Well, with the
question
Jets,
I got is almost the same question as I had for Jonathan's division with the Cardinals and the 49ers. I look at what the Patriots have, and obviously you can't dismiss Bill Belichick. I mean, let's be honest. I'm not stupid. Okay, I get it. And obviously Matt Ryan's second year should be better than the first year. The fact that he got to the playoffs, his first year was amazing. Taking over Stark.
Mac Jones. We got Mac Jones, not Matt Ryan.
Mac Jones. I apologize. I'm probably saying the wrong now. I apologize. Yeah, Mac Jones. But here's my question. Brian Flores really put together, and McDaniels along, is kind of carrying on with that in terms of how they drafted things like that, and how they're bringing free agents to fill in at the running back position and so forth. But that Miami team is extremely stacked, and the only true question on that team is Tua.
Not only Tua.
They got Mostert. They got Chase Edmonds. I think there's one or two other guys behind. I mean, they got proven running. Oh, Myles Gaskin. I mean, they got a good running back core. Not elite, but they have a good running back core. And then you look at their wide receivers and Waddle and so forth. I mean, they got some good wideouts. I mean, Tyreek Hill is now there, so they got some speed. They got a good Gesicki, whatever the name is, on tight end. They got a good tight end. They got a good defense. The only true question now to Miami is Tua. Now, if Tua comes out and he plays a good game, he don't have to be elite. He just has to be really freaking good. And if he can operate that offense and get the ball to Tyreek Hill, get the ball to Waddle and so forth, I'm telling you, it's not far-fetched that Miami comes in number 2 and Patriots come in 3. Because I'm telling you, Miami's got the damn talent to be number 2, if not 1, depending on the field general. Now, obviously, Josh Allen still carries that title and that division. But if Tua can come out and operate that offense within the offense and use his weapons, that team is built. I'm telling you, they're built. Call me a liar.
No, you're right. They are built, but I do agree. It does come down to Tua and what Tua's going to bring. But I also excuse me. It also comes down to the coaching. They don't have Brian Flores anymore, like you said. They have a new head coach, and we don't know what this head coach is going to bring. Is he going to be more of a running back coach to where he's going to have Tua run the ball more or hand it off to his running backs? I mean, he has Tyreek Hill, so he's going to throw in some pass plays in there.
Right. I think he's going to run that offense. I think he's going to run that offense based on the offense. When he was over there in San Francisco, you got Debo. You know what you had in Garoppolo. So he basically ran that more of a Wildcat style offense with Debo because Debo was the guy. So he basically fit that offense to fit for what it was. I think he goes to Miami. I think he takes Tua. He takes what he's got into consideration. And I think he formulates that game plan to fit the weapons that he has there. I think he's going to be fine. But Daniels is a young guy. He's innovative. I think he's going to be fine there. It's really going to come down to can Tua, number 1, healthy, and number 2, can Tua make the passes? And if Tua can do that, then I think Miami, their future is going to be pretty bright.
Yeah, they have a legitimate case at least to get a wild card spot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I really think that Miami and the Patriots, they're going to be close. I really, if Tua comes out and does what he does, I think it's going to be close. And it's going to be, I think that specific division, because of that, along with the Rams, again, with the Niners and what the Cardinals could do, Marquise Brown, there's a lot of unknown there. It's not like where you got the AFC, and I'm probably gonna have the division wrong. The one that has the Broncos and the Raiders. You kind of look at that division, and you're like, okay, I know what these guys are about. I know what these teams are about. Now let's see what they do against each other, because they all have good teams. They all have good coaches. Let's see what they do again. Whereas in the Rams division, and I'm talking about the middle core of that division, as well as the middle core of your division, Frankie. There's a lot of unknowns, but a lot of what ifs, and I think that's to see who gets the wild card out of those two divisions is really what I think intrigues me the most.
Well, Jay, I wouldn't be surprised if the Bills get the division and both the Patriots and Dolphins end up in a wild card, to be honest with you.
You said what now?
I'm sorry, I'm driving, so you probably won't be hearing me real often.
I didn't catch it again.
I said I wouldn't be surprised that the Bills win the division and somehow the Patriots and the Dolphins both end up in the wild card, because that can happen. They can both end up in the wild card, but the AFC West, like you said, that it was the AFC West with the Broncos and the Raiders.
That's where I think it kills it. It's like if the AFC West wasn't so stacked.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. And it's not that you guys can't get it. It's just you're gonna have to outperform those other guys over in the West in order to grab those spots.
Right. Well, I mean, everybody's saying look at the Las Vegas Raiders. But we've seen super teams like the Las Vegas Raiders before. The Cleveland Browns had a super stacked team like that, and they didn't do anything about it. And I think, Josh McDaniels, he's a great coach, but he's not head coach material. Let's be real. We've seen him with the Denver Broncos and what he brought to the Denver Broncos. I mean, yeah, he brought in all these people to the Raiders. Let's be realistic. They're now the Raider Pats 2.0, because Josh McDaniel brought in a lot of Patriots over there. But I don't see the Raiders being that team that everybody expects them to be. Yeah, they're gonna. I think they're gonna win at least 8 games, maybe 9. But there's just too much superstars on that team that's probably gonna get mad when they don't get the ball passed their way. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And he brought up a good question. David Hernandez did with Miami in terms of Gesicki, their tight end. Now he's still listed on their depth chart, but it says on here I'm reading this. It says Miami franchise tight end Mike Gesicki and the Dolphins are not expected to reach agreement on a contract before Friday's deadline for franchise players to sign. Per sources, Gesicki is now set to play the season on his $10.9 million tag. So I guess to answer your question, Damian, Gesicki will still be there, but he's only playing on the tag. They still have not got a contract worked out with him. Much like Dalton Schultz for the Cowboys, they franchise him as well. They didn't get the deal done, so Schultz is going to be on the tag. So he'll still be there, but he's going to be on the tag. So it's interesting to see if throughout the season or next year if they can actually get that contract worked out with him. Because I think you can only, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, you can only tag a guy 2 times before he can become a free agent, correct?
I believe so. I believe it's twice.
And that's what I'm thinking. I think it's 2. I think you get 2 shots at it, and then after that, then he's just on his own and he can go wherever he needs to go.
Right. He becomes a free agent. Right.
So there you go, David. They got 1 or 2 years of Gesicki to get a deal done. So we'll see what happens. But by the way, this year coming up playing, you'll see Gesicki on that lineup. All right. Hey, going in the top 5 active running backs. I really thought about this for a minute because I took a lot of things into consideration on this, and I'm really curious to see what Jonathan comes up with, and I'm really curious to see what Frankie comes up with in their top 5. But in my top 5, I put Jonathan Taylor there at number 1 at 332 attempts, 1,811 yards, 18 touchdowns. Good Lord, man, hellified Amber Alert. I guess I must have found my sister. Anyway. I shouldn't say that. That's just wrong to say that about Amber Alerts. But no, Jonathan Taylor, clearly, I think we all agree that last year, phenomenal year. Dalvin, I think Henry, his contract, or him getting hurt really put him into a rough spot. But for right now, until Henry proves otherwise this year coming up when he's healthy, I got Taylor at number 1. I got Dalvin Cook at 2, and I got Henry at number 3. Based on I put him at number 3 because I feel like once he comes back and he's healthy and he gets back to his mode, he can take over either 1 or 2. But right now, based on going into this year, I want to see how he comes back off of injury to see what he did. But in that 8 games, you can't deny what he did in 8 games. 8 games, 219 attempts, just under 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. Amazing. I got Nick Chubb at number 4 at 228 attempts, 1,259 and 8 touchdowns. But he did have 2 fumbles last year. And I think Kareem Hunt sometimes tends to dip into his touches a little bit, especially at the goal line and things of that nature. So at number 5, I got Joe Mixon from Cincinnati. He had a really good year at 16 games, 292 attempts, 13 touchdowns, 1,205. So, I want to see a little bit more out of Mixon before I can bump him up higher than 5. I want to see him repeat or come close to that specific plan. But what he did, a really good job on his part. But that was my top 5. Jonathan, who do you got at your top 5 active running backs?
Man, the first one is easy. Jonathan Taylor. Look, he has the same name as me, so there you go. He's already special. Right?
How do you go against that logic?
How can you go against that one? No, in all seriousness, though, this guy was phenomenal last year, and he was a big part of the Colts offense. He was huge for the Colts offense. And without him, the Colts wouldn't have been fighting on the last day of the season for a playoff spot. I felt like if they would have handed him the ball more, they would have probably had a chance to win that game and not perform the choke job. But, he was an MVP candidate. Yes, he failed to rush for 100 yards or a touchdown for the first time since week 3. But, he was still amazing, on the ground. So I got to go with him, number 1. I think he's that impactful player in their run game. Number 2, this one might surprise you, but I like Nick Chubb. I think Nick Chubb is second on my list. And the reason I say that is because, he was amazing. And he is a good running back. He's another huge part of what the Browns are doing in Cleveland. So right. I have to put him number 2 on the list. Number 3 is kind of easy too. Number 3 is very easy. I gotta go with my man Henry from Tennessee. Yeah. You know what?
We saw eye to eye. Hey, I put him at 3. He put him at 3. You know what? All of a sudden, I feel better about my predicting skills, Jonathan.
Right, and you know what? He led that run heavy offense in Tennessee. Yeah. And he made Tannehill look good. He really did. He really made Tannehill look good. Without him, Tannehill is not that good of a quarterback.
We saw that in the playoffs, didn't we?
Right. He's below average without Henry. So Henry is definitely a top 3 on my list. And then at 4, I have to put my man Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon doesn't get enough love like he should.
He doesn't.
He's a very underrated running back. He deserves a lot more credit. I think Zach Taylor has done a good job scheming for him, getting him more involved in plays. And, he performed really, really, really well. And he put together a complete campaign, with the Cincinnati Bengals. And the Cincinnati Bengals were able to get to the Super Bowl. At where are we? Number 5?
Yes, sir.
Number 5, I'm going to have to go with a Charger, man. I'm going to have to go with a Charger, and I think you probably know his name. It's Austin Eckler. Austin Eckler, man.
I just want to understand one thing. So you got Eckler over Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, I got Eckler over Dalvin Cook.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Can I ask why?
Yeah.
Is it just a stat thing, or is it more than just a stat thing?
Well, because he logged the third season in franchise history with at least 20 scrimmage touchdowns.
Okay.
And he joined Hall of Famer LaDainian Tomlinson, who did that in 2005 and 2006. So I just thought that he was really, really good last season, healthy, strong, a strong running back. and that's why I put him a little bit above Dalvin Cook, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. And I'm not trying to challenge you. I'm asking really kind of more so for myself, because I was looking at Eckler, and I was thinking about putting Eckler on the list, and I just felt like I think I'll put Dalvin on that because Dalvin did have a good year, but Dalvin's got a couple of 200-yard games and things like that in his career. And I think I kind of tied a little bit of the career in with this, last year's season. And I think that's kind of why I gave Dalvin a little more of that edge. But I can see your point with Eckler too, because again, I was contemplating that, so I get it.
But Dalvin Cook is definitely in my top 10, no doubt about it.
Oh yeah, I don't think you gotta have. If you have Dalvin out, if you put Eckler at 5, I would have. Okay, I'm gonna ask you this, Jonathan. Do you have Dalvin Cook at 6?
Yes.
Okay, now all right. So Damien chimes in, and I swear, I think he puts us on there just for shock value purposes. But he's got Joe Mixon 1, Kareem Hunt 2, Leonard Fournette 3, Austin Eckler at 4, and John Jacobs 5. Again, I think this is just strictly for shock value. Damian Hernandez.
Josh Jacobs is not a top 5 running back. Josh Jacobs is not a top 5 running back. I'm sorry, he's good. But he's not a top 5 running back. And Leonard Fournette, he could truck people. He could run over people, but he's not in the top 5.
Right.
Maybe when he was at LSU, yes, he was the top running back in the country.
And don't get me wrong, Fournette's a hell of a good runner, but I don't think he's not at that category yet. He's not there yet.
Right.
Frankie, top 5.
Yeah, sorry.
Hey, no, you're good.
Sorry.
Top 5 running backs. Who's your top 5 active running backs?
Well, before I start off with that, I just had to say sorry. I had to back up because I was celebrating too hard. Aaron Judge hit another home run. And
I knew that's why you left. I was watching. I got the game over here. I'm looking at it. Trust me, we're copacetically fine. You got what you got to do. You're having a good game right now.
But yeah, my top 5. Honestly, I like the top 5.
Hold on, wait a minute now. 10 to what?
10 to 1, baby. That's right. 10 to 1.
Hey, listen. I don't know. Maybe the Amber Alert I got just now was for pride.
Well, he was supposed to be on here tonight.
Man, hey, I bet you pride don't hit the group chat for a hot minute. But okay, let's carry on. Again, incredible game. Top 5 running backs. Who you got, brother?
So honestly, I'm not even gonna pick a top 5. I'm gonna stick with the top 5 that Jonathan had brought up because he no lie, Jay. He literally has said the same top 5 I did, except for me, I would only switch Joe Mixon with Austin Eckler. I put Austin Eckler at number 4 and Joe Mixon at number 5. Top 3 is phenomenal with Jonathan Taylor at number 1, followed up by Nick Chubb because I honestly picked up Nick Chubb via a trade on Fantasy Football League last year, just because of what Nick Chubb was doing. He I like what Nick Chubb was doing last year with the Cleveland Browns, and I think he's gonna do the same thing again this year. So I'm gonna put Nick Chubb at number 2. Followed up with Derrick Henry, because if you don't put Derrick Henry in your top 5, you're insane. Yeah, it just comes down.
For me with Chubb, like I was telling him, I think Kareem Hunt kind of takes away some of his thunder at the goal line. But again, I'm curious to know as why you don't have Dalvin. You went with Eckler, and I kind of got Jonathan's thought process on Eckler. And again, like I was telling Jonathan, I was struggling between Eckler and Dalvin Cook, and I kind of gave the edge to Dalvin Cook because, and I really kind of put him at 2, but based on, he's got several 200-yard games, and not that Eckler's not done something, but I just feel like Dalvin Cook is just, I don't know how you don't have him in your top 5 sometime. I struggle with that one.
I mean,
why don't you have Dalvin Cook in your top 5?
I put Dalvin Cook as number 6, but the reason why he's not on my top 5 and Austin Eckler is I actually like Austin Eckler. I've watched Austin Eckler basically his entire year, and I'm not even a Chargers fan. That's just how much of a fan I am of Austin Eckler. Is you never know what he's going to bring in, and there's times where he can get injured midway through the season, come back, and still be that same running back that he was before he got hurt. I mean, with Devin Cook, he's also. The reason why I ask you that
is if you look at Dalvin Cook, he only played 13 games. He hurt himself. As a matter of fact, he missed 4 games. So at 249 attempts, He put up 1,159 and 6. And you got Henry in your lineup. And again, I'm certainly not going against that. He put up under 1,000 in 8 games. But then the real one that I'm looking at is Chubb. Chubb gave you 14 games. So Chubb gave you one more game than Dalvin Cook. But again, I get Chubb as well because he had 228 attempts versus Cook at 249. So I'll give you that as well. So I guess I can kind of see what you're saying. It's just really hard for me to not have Dalvin Cook in it just because I know what Dalvin Cook is capable of doing. But again, Eckler, I was on the fence with Eckler as well. So I'm not gonna say, hey, this, that, or the other, because Eckler had a good performance as well. So
it's impressive when you can join elite company, like joining the same list as LaDainian Tomlinson. To me, that's just impressive.
No doubt, and I agree with you because anytime you get a company with LaDainian, absolutely, and I feel the same way with Adrian Peterson and on those levels. I mean, those are just really amazing running backs. So again, couple of different things. I think we're all on the same page. The only difference I think was Eckler for me. I had Dalvin Cook, but Jonathan and Frankie had Eckler in there. I think they just had them swap with Joe Mixon, but I think we're all kind of, pretty much solidified, at least within the top 5. So that I feel like getting confident. I feel like, hey, my top 5 is pretty damn near almost what Jonathan had and Frankie had. So I feel good about myself. So I'm gonna move on to the next topic before I kill it.
This list could be a lot different though if you had a healthy Saquon Barkley, or if you had a healthy Alvin. You could imagine.
Let's talk about that. You know what? I feel bad for Saquon. But because it's one of those things where he has so much talent. It's just his body won't cooperate with his talent.
Part of that too is the wear and tear he has to put on his body because there's really no one around him.
But you know what though? But even when he came into the league year one, he's always been fragile year one. It's just been the knock on him. You know what I'm saying? It's been the knock on him, and I just need more from him if you're gonna. But I feel like he's that kind of guy who just has all the talent in the world, but his body just wouldn't cooperate. I mean, because you can say the same thing about look at Barry Sanders. He took a lot of punishment, weaving and bobbing, this, that, and the other. I mean, he was behind damn near Detroit for crying out loud.
Right.
But again, I feel bad for Saquon because, again, a guy who has just unlimited talent, but, his body just doesn't cooperate and allow him to do the things that he can do. It just is what it is sometimes. Right. All right, we're going to move on. Hey, Suns match the Pacers contract. How does that affect KD? Now, we've talked about the Ayton and all of that, but I think really more important than this topic is, or I'm curious to know, Jonathan, is how is it going to affect where KD goes from here? Because now the Suns, cap purposes and everything else, they're pretty much out of the equation. I don't see them making a move now on Durant. I think Durant either going to go to New York, who has the players and the picks, or I see him going to Golden State, who has the players and the picks. Where do you, or maybe even a multi-team deal to come up with the picks and the players. What scenario do you see working out now at this point for Durant?
Yeah, Phoenix is out of the question now because now that DeAndre Ayton is going to come back and, he's not going to Indiana, that changes everything for KD. And now KD is going to have to think of another preferred destination. He's going to have to cross the Phoenix Suns off of his top priority list and, probably hope for another team to get involved, or maybe he can land with the Knicks, as you mentioned, or maybe the Golden State Warriors, because the Golden State Warriors have the assets and they have the pieces to, and they can push all those chips to the table to reacquire, a guy like Kevin Durant. But that would be awfully dumb.
I was about to ask you, what would be their motivation? Come on, a championship year. Right. What's their motivation at this point?
Yeah, what's your motivation behind getting Kevin Durant back? Why would you give up half of your championship roster to get KD? Right, when you have a chance to run it back with the team that you already have. You know, that don't make any sense to me. I think in the end, though, Jay, and we talked a little bit about this, I think in the end, KD stays put in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I think he needs to honor his contract.
Brooklyn, because Brooklyn's asking price for KD is so high that there's no real deal out there to be formed.
Right. Exactly. So it's going to be complicated and difficult to pull off a trade. So I think
if they want to make a trade for KD, if they really want to make a trade for KD, they would look at either New York or even back to Golden State and say, look, give us 3 picks, give us, one of your, like maybe like a Jordan Poole or a Randall, and we'll make this thing happen.
But if
right now they're like 4 picks and like 2 players. Give me 1 player, 3 picks, and we're good. And I think that Golden State could come up with something. They're not going to give up Wiggins. Maybe they give up Poole and 3 picks.
Right.
And, or maybe even Kuminga and 3 picks. You don't give up Wiseman. For the love of God, don't give up Wiseman. Because I think Wiseman is showing at the Summer League that, hey, look, guys, I'm healthy. I'm coming back. I'm getting stronger. Look what I'm doing in my debut in the Summer League. I'll be ready to go. And he's going to give them in the low post
right
what Green is kind of lacking a little bit there. So
exactly.
Poole would be probably the most expendable asset that would be intriguing enough to Brooklyn, along with the pick for a guy like Durant.
Right, but I wouldn't do it if I'm the Warriors. But if there's one team that's dumb enough to do it, it's the New York Knicks.
Oh, absolutely, and they got plenty of picks.
If there's one organization that's in so much dysfunction and so much chaos that's willing to do something like that, it's the New York Knicks.
But if you're the Knicks, do you package maybe Obi Toppin and 4 picks for Durant, or do you just stay status quo? I think for me, if I'm the Knicks, I'm keeping my picks and I'm staying status quo. I don't think Durant, even if I brought in Durant, I still don't think I got enough on the table to get a championship.
No, I'm staying status quo. I'm staying with the pieces that I have. I'm going to try to make that work. The Knicks have already done enough damage. They've already done some dumb draft picks in the past. They've done some ridiculous moves that just don't make any sense. And it's an organization that is run poorly, obviously. But that's why I said, Jay, if it's one team out there that's going to do some foolishness and stupid, it's them. And they would definitely give up guys like Obi Toppin. They would give up those guys just to get KD. So if there's one place where he would go, it would probably be the New York Knicks.
Let me ask you a question. What about Denver and teaming him up with Jokic? I mean, maybe you keep Miller or you keep Murray and you give up Porter Jr. Maybe you give up Porter Jr. and some picks for Durant.
Ooh, yeah. I don't know. That would be difficult because, again, Sean Marks is looking for a lot in return. He'll probably ask for Jamal Murray, too, in that package. You'll probably have to give up Porter.
I think for Shitzik, if I really want to help Joker out and I want to help Murray out, those are really 2 I want to keep and tie up or at least pair up with a Durant. Maybe I'm going to submit that claim. I'm going to say, hey, look, I'll give you 4 picks and Porter Jr. Best I can do. What do you want to do? And if they turn it down, then I say, you know what? You're a bunch of idiots, and I'll keep what I got and keep rolling.
And from my understanding, Sean Marks also wants draft picks.
Yeah.
So he's asking for
there's issues there for sure. Maybe you bring in a third team with Denver to make the pick part work. I don't know who you bring in, but maybe you look for something like that. Maybe New York might want to team up and be a third team player in that. I don't know.
Maybe.
That'd be really interesting.
That would be interesting.
I don't know. We'll see. I think at the end of the day, I think I'm more inclined to what we said earlier. I think Kyrie Irving stays there. I think Durant stays there. And I think they're going to be forced in another awkward year in Brooklyn. And I think they stay there, and we'll see what happens. But again, I think Brooklyn next year is going to be a very awkward team to play for or be around. They're
still under contract, so they may be staying put for right now.
Yeah, I don't see, me personally, like you said, I don't see either one of them moving. I don't think the Lakers can make it work. I don't think any of the team makes it work for Durant. And again, I think we see a run back of last year's Brooklyn Nets, and we'll see what they can do from there. Who should go number one in the MLB draft? This is where it gets interesting to me. This is probably the only sport that I really agree that if you're a high school player, go ahead and make your dreams happen and try to, get into that minor league system and go. Because I think with the NBA and the NFL, you can kind of work the college in there a little bit more because it's a direct path. You're either going to go to the NBA or the NFL or you're not. Whereas baseball, it's a little bit longer path, right? Because you got to go to the minors to get to the majors. So it's almost like in order to capture your prime years in the majors, you got to go out of high school if you can. Go to that draft process, do your time at AA ball, AAA ball if you're a good enough prospect, and then get to the majors as quickly as you can to make your money, because college will always be there. Once you get that contract, that's my thought process. Once you get that contract, for the majors, you got your college money right there. You can always go back to school in the off season, do your off season time, still get your degree and make your money. But with baseball, it takes a little longer to get to the majors. So if I'm a parent and I got a student and I got a Major League Ball club saying, hey, we want to draft your son out of high school, I'm all for it because I know what it's going to take in terms of length of longevity to get to the majors. So I'm okay with that. And I think if we look at that, the top three players pretty much are going to be high school players. More specifically, at number one, you got Andrew Jones' son, Drew Jones, the outfielder out of Wesleyan High School. He's a good defender, got great speed. He's got a good bat, but he does still need a little bit more development on his swing to get it where it needs to be. But again, he's got a lot of the tools. He's not a 5 tool, but he's got at least 3 or 4 out of those 5 tools that you want to get, and he's got a lot of promise. So I see him going number one. And I think number 2 is going to be Tamar Johnson, that second baseman out of Mays High. He's got a great hit tool. Out of those 5 tools, his hitting tool is just phenomenal. He can recognize the off speed, he can control the strike zone, and he can generate constant contact. And I think when you got a guy like that, you're going to take a chance on him. You'll develop his other tools, other 4 out of the 5 tools necessary, and I think he's going to be phenomenal. And so I think those are my number 1 and number 2. And again, I think even number 3 goes to a high school player. But those are my number 1 and number 2s. Jonathan, who would you look at in those spots?
Well, I like the kid from Cal Poly, Brooks Lee.
Yeah.
I think he's nice. He has the potential to be a 5-tool guy. Then you got the LSU slugger, Jacob Berry. So this is a draft that's stacked with talent. You mentioned Drew Jones, not Andrew Jones. I'm thinking of Andrew Jones, but Adam Jones' son. He has the potential to be great. This year's draft, it could go either way, but I'm with you. I think I'm gonna go with Tamir Johnson. I think this kid is ready to take his game to the next level. I think he's gonna shine at the big league level. And I think he has the 5 tools, and I think he will continue to develop over time. I like him a lot. I think he's a great all-around player. He will definitely be a great asset. And I just liked them to go with Johnson. He's a good infielder. He's a second baseman. He has and when he's at the plate, he has a great eye as well. He doesn't swing and chase at everything. I like disciplined players, and he's one of those guys. He's very patient. So I like him to go number 1 overall.
I remember a time when I was talking about high school players and what they can do and how you maximize it. There's a lot of times I see you'll see high school players that go to college ball, and then they go to the minors after college ball, or while they're in college ball. And as you know, and it's been pointed out to me, I never really understood I know how NFL works, I know how football works and basketball work in terms of scholarships and things like that going to school, but I never understood how the baseball side worked. And I've never really been educated. I always thought they don't really get scholarships to go play college ball. They just go there and they try for their team, they go and they do what they do. That's why I was saying it seems to me, you're better off as a high school player going and playing ball right with the MLB team in the minor league system rather than college, because if you risk injury in college, you're just done. There's no minor leagues, there's no nothing. You're just done, and then you just whatever. Right. So my thing is, if I'm going to throw a ball, I'm going to throw a ball for an opportunity to get to the MLB level, and I think by joining, either A ball, double A ball, triple A, wherever it is you fit in or they feel like you fit in, get in that system, see what you can do, see if you can stay healthy, and then make your money and then go back to school. The school's going to be there because you got the money to make it happen.
Right. You got the money to finish your education. Exactly.
Oh, absolutely. I said it to say this. I went to high school with a guy named Brian Bohannon. Now, Jonathan Mathis, I know you know a lot about baseball. Are you familiar with Brian Bohannon? Have you ever heard of him before?
I heard that name, Bohannon, yeah.
Yeah, he went to North Shore High School. I went to school with his brother, Brad Bohannon. Brian was a junior at my high school when I was a freshman. And I'm telling you, this kid was a junior, and he had a 104-mile-an-hour fastball. Shit you not, 104.
And now
he actually signed on with the Rangers. The Rangers signed him on right out of high school, and I think at that time it was like $175,000 is what they gave him. Now this is back in like 1987, 88. So you got to kind of look at where the inflation was back in those days to figure that out, right? Right. But he threw left, he batted left. He played for the Mets. He actually made to the Major League Baseball level. He played for the Mets, the Colorado Rockies, and 4 other teams, I think, that were in there. So he played for the Rangers from 90 to 94, the Tigers in 95, the Blue Jays 96, the Mets 97, 98, the Los Angeles Dodgers in 1998, and then he finished out with the Rockies 99 to 2001. But what really got him was he went, throwing that 104-mile-an-hour fastball, he wound up messing up his arm. I think he did go through Tommy John surgery at some point, but he played for a little bit. But my point is that you never know what injury is going to take you, not take you. So it's good. That's one of the few sports where I'm okay with a player coming out of high school and going directly into the sport. I think NFL, NBA, go to college. They're going to give you a scholarship, and now especially under the NIL that they have. Oh my God, that just opens up even so much more doors for you. But I think for baseball still seems to be the only sport that doesn't get really the college financial backing. So it's almost better to go straight into the minors if you can't run out of baseball. I think it's better for you. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Astros we're not drafting until like around down number 18. So I think we're going to get an outfielder. I think is what they're projecting us to get. At this point, I'm just saying, if I'm the Astros, I'm just trying to tell them, whoever the best prospect is available at 17 or 18, take it, throw it in the farm system, and let's keep rolling.
Build the farm system, that's right. And, the draft starts tomorrow, right?
It does start tomorrow. And is it on TV? I've never actually watched the Major League Baseball draft. I've never watched
TV. It's on TV. It's on MLB Network, though.
Again, I guess I'll be missing out when I'll have to watch ESPN. Hey, I'm on the poor side of life, okay? If I can't stream it or get on Netflix or Hulu or normal cable, I'm just screwed. So it is what it is.
I feel you.
Hey, all right. This is the last topic for the evening. Should the Orioles sell at the MLB deadline? And Jonathan Mathis, I kind of want you to lead this topic to see what you think. Look at the Orioles. They just come off an incredible win streak, but we all know that win streak was, I don't want to say it was fluffed or inflated or made it out to be more than what it was, because, again, it's against sub-500 teams. But, again, the Orioles are a sub-500 team. So it is what it is. If you're the Orioles, which we've all kind of talked about, in my opinion, the Orioles have they don't have a really true direction, in my opinion. But I wanted to see what you think. Should the Orioles, given how well they're playing now, should they sell some of those players and try to rebuild? Should they keep what they have and try to add in free agency? So do they sell or do they buy in free agency if you're an Orioles fan?
I'm more on the buy side, and that's probably the Dodger fan in me, because we're always buying, at the trade deadline. But really, no, I think the Orioles should keep this team together since they're winning. It doesn't make sense to blow it up right now since you're winning. I think they just need to add a starting pitcher. So I think they need to buy. They need to trade for a starting pitcher. And there's going to be starting pitchers on the market that they can get. I'm hearing Blake Snell could be moved, possibly. Luis Castillo's name has been floating around in recent weeks, and there's a possibility that the Orioles can land him. And if they do, they're really in good position to at least get the wild card because Luis Castillo has had an amazing year this year. I'm hearing, I believe his name is Brad Keller. He's the pitcher over in Kansas City. You could maybe trade for him. So I think they're going to be looking for starting pitching. I think they're going to buy at this trade deadline.
And I think you almost have to buy at this point. I think if nothing else, just to have a sense of direction, to show the players that are on your team that you're committed, and to show the fan base, which is one of the most important thing, right, is your fan base, to show the fan base that you're committed to putting a competitive team on the field. And I think at this point, if you were to sell some of those players off while you're in the middle of a streak, that it shows your fan base that, hey, look, I'm sorry, we didn't mean to get your hopes up. We're actually selling this crap off. I think it sends a bad message to your fan base. I think it sends a bad message to your farm system. I think it sends a bad message to the guys you actually have on your roster that you're not willing to be competitive. And I think that really hurts the Orioles more than it does help them if they were to go to a sell mode rather than a buy mode.
Right. And all they're doing is setting themselves back. And I mean, the future, what it shows here is that the future looks actually bright. So you don't want to break this team up now, and then you don't want to send your fans the wrong message, like you just said, Like the fans are feeling good about this team. There's suddenly something to be excited about now. And then you want to blow up the roster? Really? You want to be like the Miami Marlins now and have this fire sale and get rid of your players? No, you don't do that. You don't do what the Cincinnati Reds do or what the Miami Marlins have a reputation of doing. You keep this team intact. You keep the guys that you have, and you get a starting pitcher at the deadline.
Right. Yeah. And this scenario, when I think about the scenario, I kind of go back to Major League. Remember that movie Major League? When you had the one owner, and she's trying to sell off everything because she wants to move the team to Florida and this, that, and the other. It reminds me of that. I feel like if you sell the team or you sell the players off, it's almost like you're putting yourself in that Major League situation, and you got the Cleveland Indians from that team all over again. And I don't think you want to do that. I don't think you want to build. You want to show the city, hey, look, we're here to commit. We're here to play. We're here to be competitive. We're not just going to keep, selling players off to do whatever. So, yeah, I think you're right. I think they have to buy. I think they're forced to buy at this point if they want to continue to build something.
I think so, too. And if you want to sell tickets, you got to keep it together. You got to keep this team that you have right now together.
Right.
And you got to show
like you said earlier, you'll be like Miami where you have no fans in the stands and it's just an empty stadium.
Right. And you got to show your fan base that you actually care about winning. Because if you don't care, why should the fans care? Right. Why should the fans care?
Man, listen, the Astros went through that rough period. But, the thing about the Astros, when they did that, I knew what they were doing. Everybody knew what they were doing. Look, the Astros realized, okay, we're not going to go anywhere with these guys. I mean, we're going to be basically status quo with this team. So they got rid of it. They went to the draft. They built up their farm. They brought Altuve up first to the farm, and then Springer and everybody else, Bregman, they all came up to the farm, and then they added a couple of and we got back into contention again but they built it through the draft. So I knew that Houston had a game plan. I just felt like with the Dodgers or with the Orioles, I just never really had, okay, if we get rid of the players, we sell these players off, what's our contention? How are we going to build this team? What are we going to do with the farm? And where are we going to go to get back to where we need to be? And they never really had that until now.
Right. And now you're seeing it because you see a lot of promise on that.
Absolutely. All right, we're at the end of our program. We're at the final thoughts, and I'm going to let Jonathan, our awesome guest. Thanks again, Jonathan. If you guys don't know, Jonathan writes a lot of articles for ASAP. Check out his articles. I've read at least 3 or 4 of them here in the last week or so, and they are really good. The one that he did on not too long ago with the Chet Holmgren piece, I thought was really good. Again, I didn't want Chet Holmgren at number 3. I wanted Jabari. Actually, I wanted Paolo Banchero, but I got Jabari Smith, and I'm not going to be mad at that. I still like Jabari. I think it's going to be great for our organization. But it's still a really good piece. So if you don't know that, Jonathan Mathis does a lot of articles for the ASAP Network. Check that stuff out. Jonathan, give me your final thoughts, brother.
Man, I want to thank you for having me on. It's really a pleasure to be on this show. You always make it fun. I have a great time on this show. I want to thank you, my friend, for having me on, and thank the viewers too, because without the viewers, none of this is possible. It was a great program. Jay, you organized it really nice. Has some great content on the show. So I want to thank you again. I appreciate you. I thank you for the love and support as well. You guys have all at the ASAP family, everyone here has been great support. You guys are my support system. You guys are my family, and I really appreciate you guys so much. So those are my final thoughts, and go Dodgers, because the Dodgers, they're about to play in 10 minutes.
Yeah, and don't worry, I'll be watching that one too with my bottle of Jack Daniels I plan to break open in celebration of the Astros. So, hey, if you want, and again, I think I am now in the shoe category with Jonathan Mathis, where he's going to send me a pair of shoes once a month, and I'm going to rent them for a week, and I think it's going to be amazing. I can't wait to see what he sends me. As long as it's not those gray pair of suede ones that he screwed up, I think I'll be satisfied. But no, hey, listen, it's been a hell of a good show. Jonathan, your ass will come back on here because, well, you're Jonathan Mathis, and you're going to come back on here.
Oh, definitely. I'll be back. I'm not going anywhere.
Hey, and to Damian Hernandez's question of why the MLB has their draft in the middle of the season, well, hell, I don't know. Makes no damn sense to me either. It seems like it needed to be before the season or after the season. I don't know why they put it in the middle, other than just, I guess, be different than everybody else.
Right. You would think they would have it in the winter.
That's what I would think. I don't know why they do it in the middle of the season. It's the weirdest thing. You're sitting there trying to compete for games, but then you're going to turn your attention, at least the upper level, will turn their attention to the – I don't know. I mean, I don't get that. But then I never understand why baseball does some of the things that baseball does. It just
it's weird.
They go at their own drum. Listen, this is the oldest damn sport. And correction, historian, is baseball older than hockey? Or is hockey? I think baseball is older than hockey. Correct?
I believe so. Yeah, baseball is America's pastime. It's been around for decades, years, centuries.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna tell you like this. I could probably explain to you why they draft in the middle of the season about as well as I can explain to you why it took so fucking, pardon my French, so effing long to bring the Negro League records into the Hall of Fame. And I'll never understand why it took us so long to do that. So if we can figure out that anomaly, maybe that will help explain the other anomaly. Until then, we just got to figure baseball does what baseball does, and we're just along for the ride.
Right.
Hey, folks, my final thoughts is, God, Lord, 6 pound, 8 ounce baby Jesus. I don't ask for much. I just would like for the Yankees to lose tomorrow, the Astros to win. We get down to 2.5 separation and go into All-Star break. That's all I'm asking for at this time. Lord, that was my final request. And until next time, this is Unscripted with Jonathan Mathis, Frankie the Yankee, Jay Mclovin, saying see you later. We'll be back Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we're making a place. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're hiding the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace up the field, so